I think that composing is a lot like baking. When you first start writing, you got to think about what to write about, just like when you start baking something, you got to figure out what to bake. Once you figure out what you're going to bake or what you're going to write about, then you have to discover what viewpoint you're going to take on it or how you're going to bake it. With most topics of writing, there's probably 3 or 4 different viewpoints that you can take. Just like with baking, and when you go online to look for a recipe, there's probably 6 or 7 different recipes that you can choose from. You're going to pick the recipe probably based on what you know best, what you've baked before, and how you know to work with those materials. Just like when you're writing, you're probably going to pick the topic viewpoint that best suits you. Once you start baking, you have to lay out your materials and get a better idea of what you're going to bake and how you're going to go about baking it. Just like when you start writing, you get an outline and you have an idea of what you're going to write and how you're going to lay out your different arguments. When you go to revise your paper, that's a lot like rebaking that item. When you bake something more than once, a lot of times you'll figure out what tastes better. If you add this, how much will it affect your recipe and whether that makes it better. Just like the more you read over your paper and you revise it, it's going to get better and better. You're going to find grammatical mistakes and you're going to know more about your topic and how to lay it out to make sure it's the most effective. Just like when baking, you're going to find the best recipe to make your food the most tasty. That's why I think that baking is a lot like composing.